I have been on the hunt for matching bedside tables at the thrift store for a really long time. I knew I wanted to get something secondhand and refurbish it. And ideally I wanted to find pieces that were matching, so a set. And it's just really hard to find that at the thrift store normally. A few weeks ago, we took some things to the thrift store and I wanted to just make the rounds, check out what they had, and I found some matching bedside tables. Now these two bedside tables are pretty outdated. They're not super high quality. They're just like a laminate particle board with an orangey 90s style finish. I thought I could paint these and make them look a little bit nicer. The drawers really work very well. They glide very easily, and that was one of the big selling points for me, because even though I didn't love the color and there were a couple of things about the style that I wanted to update, I knew that having drawers that worked really well was going to be good. They have a lot of damage. There's actually trash in one of the drawers. Yeah, there's an old bottle. They just left it in there. So anyway, the drawers need to be cleaned out. They're pretty dirty. And then the top, this one has a lot of water damage. And so I might actually replace the tops on these as well. I think once I get them spruced up and repainted and looking nicer, they'll be perfect for our bedroom. Currently in our bedroom, we are using folding TV trays for our bedside tables. I use those TV trays a lot throughout the house because they're just kind of a low commitment way to add a side table anywhere. But I am trying to upgrade our side tables from the folding TV trays to something a little bit more fun. So my first step is going to be to clean these up. I'm just going to use some soapy water and a sponge to wipe them clean. And then I'll kind of make an assessment about how to move forward with any of the repairs. I also really liked the hardware on these. Again, it needs to be cleaned up a little bit, but I like the shape of it. I like that it's a kind of satin brass finish, and I'm definitely going to reuse those, so I don't have to replace the hardware, which is nice. I have found that soapy water is like one of the best things to clean everything with. I've used it so much recently. I would always use like spray cleaners before. We have a wood windowsill over our kitchen sink, and it was just really grimy from years of dust and kind of gunk building up. And I was really intimidated to clean it because it was so gross. But I just used soapy water and it cleaned up immediately. It worked so good. So anyway, that's something I've learned as a 40-something-year-old woman. Soap and water is one of the best things to clean things with. All right, I've got everything pretty cleaned up here. I know for a fact I want to replace the top on this one for sure. This piece of particle board here, I think it's a 3/4 inch thick piece. My plywood is 1/2 inch thick. So for that reason, I'm probably just going to replace the top on both of these so that it's consistent. First thing I need to do is figure out how to get this top off. Now, when I tip it over, I can see that there are screws here in this little piece. So I'm going to unscrew those. Maybe it just will pop off the top. I'm not sure. It could be glued, but we're going to try it and see. Oh. Okay. Oh, it's dowels. Okay. Nice. There we go. So I have a couple of pieces of scrap plywood. This is just 1/2 inch plywood that I'm going to use to replace the tops on those little drawer sets. And my wood grain is going in different directions on these, but I'm not too worried about it because I'm going to be painting it and sanding it down really smooth. So I don't think you're even going to notice once it's painted. work just fine. So the tops of these little drawer sets were attached with dowels, and I thought about drilling new dowel holes in the new tops, but they're only 1/2 inch and I just don't want a chance going too far. So I think I'm going to cut some blocking to go at the top on the inside here. I'm going to put pocket holes in that. Then I'm going to screw that to the sides of the inside of these, and then I can screw from the bottom up into my plywood pieces with those pocket holes. I think that's going to work a little bit better for what I'm doing here. And it's going to just be a little bit more stable. So to get the top on, I'm just going to tip this over, and I wonder if I should do glue on here. I don't think I'm gonna. I don't think I wanna. Oh, spider, go on now. Don't be harassing me. Feels pretty solid. Oops, ouch. Okay. Yeah, just trim it down like a 1/4 inch. So I decided to go ahead and just trim these down. Oop. I decided to go ahead and trim these down by a 1/4 inch because I realized that these pieces were actually solid wood. If they were particle board, I just feel like it would have been hard to finish that edge, and that's going to be the edge that's at the tops. Because they're solid wood, I felt comfortable trimming that little 1/4 inch off the tops. So now they fit a lot better, and this aligns with the top. So I'm just going to use the holes from the previous screws and screw that into the top so that piece is in place. All right, so these holes from the previous screws are a little bit kind of bored out. I need them to not be so deep in there, so I'm just going to drill new holes for new screws. There we go. Because I didn't have any screws that would, like I either had screws that were too long or too short, so now I can use a little bit longer screw and get that in there. I'm actually using drywall screws because those are the only ones I have that are the right size, which it's fine. Okay, get that lined up there. There. Gorgeous. Cool. Whew. Okay, so I got these to a better place, and I think I'm gonna call it quits for today. In my mind, I thought, oh, I'll finish these in a day. I do that to myself all the time, and then I never finish. So this is gonna be a multiple day project. And then this weekend, today's Friday, this weekend we have some things going on, some family stuff, and I probably won't get to it until Sunday or Monday. But I'm really happy with the little fixes that I've done. So anyway, but it's been a beautiful day. It's been really nice to work outside. So I will see you guys in a couple of days, but just a few moments for you. Earlier this morning, I worked on adding some legs to the bottom of these little side tables because I wanted to raise them up just a little bit. So just using some scrap wood, I cut some little blocking pieces to attach the hardware to that the legs attach to. I bought these little turned wood feet to go on the bottom of these dressers, and they only had enough for me to put them on the front, so I did have to get a different one for the back. So I just got these, and the only thing is I need to trim this by 2 inches because this is a 6-inch leg and this is a 4-inch leg. So I'm going to put these on the back of the dresser and these on the front because you really won't even see these, but I do need to trim these down really quick. Ooh, I like that so much better with the legs. Ah, yay! So now I just want to do a little bit more finishing on these before I paint them. So I have a few cracks to fill on these, and I want to do that before I paint, obviously. So I think I'm actually going to use Bondo to do this because I just feel like it's going to be a little bit more heavy duty since this is a tabletop surface and, you know, I'll be putting things on here. I don't plan on using it like super rough or anything, but I just think the Bondo will hold up a little bit better. So I'm mainly just going to fill this little crack along the top here, maybe do a little bit of filling on the edges of the plywood, and then once that dries, I'll sand everything down really nice and smooth before I prime it and paint it. Using this stuff reminds me of my dad because he always worked with cars, and I'm sure he's used plenty of Bondo in his lifetime. Anytime I smell this smell, it just brings back memories of being a kid and going to his shop. So while that Bondo dries, I'm going to try to clean this hardware. It's in pretty good shape. It's just a little grimy and kind of dirty. So I'm going to soak it in a solution of water, vinegar, and a little bit of dish soap. So I did about 1 part vinegar to 2 parts water, and then I did maybe a teaspoon, actually probably half a teaspoon of soap, like just regular dish soap. I'm just going to soak these in here for about an hour, and then I'll check them, see if they're easy to scrub. Okay with leaving a little bit of the aged finish on here. I just kind of wanted to get the bigger spots off. I think that looks pretty good. For a little rinse. Yeah. Nice. Now I'm gonna sand, just do like a really quick sand on this primer coat, and then I'm gonna do 2 coats of the paint that I chose, sanding in between coats, and we'll see how that goes. I got a semi-gloss paint in this color. I can't remember off the top of my head what it is, but I'll put it here on the screen, from Behr, which I get at Home Depot. And I kind of wanted to take a little bit of a risk with this paint and try something new and a little bit more bold. When we first moved into this house and started doing all of our renovations, I kept it really basic with the color palettes that I was doing. The main reason I did that was because we were really trying to get a lot done in the first month that we had the keys to the house before we moved in, just to get it a little bit more habitable and a little bit more comfortable. And so I went with just a basic color throughout the entire house. Eventually, I would like to paint our bedroom a little bit darker of a color. I was kind of inspired by some of these images here. And when I was looking through all of my Pinterest boards, I really am drawn to pops of color. So anyway, I've got some sanding blocks here. This one might be an 80 grit or 120 grit. It might be 120 actually. And I've got a 400 grit, which I'll probably use in between the coats of the paint just to kind of get it really like buttery smooth. Anyway, I kind of just want to knock down any of the texture from this primer that I put on here and make it really nice and smooth for the paint. So it ended up taking about 3 coats to cover these, and they're still kind of a little bit, like they have that kind of tacky feeling. They've been drying since yesterday, but I feel like they still need to cure a little bit before I put too many things on top of these. But the last thing I need to do is paint the feet. So I left the feet on just to kind of lift them up off the ground so I could paint all this. But I think I'm just gonna turn these upside down and paint the feet. I'm just gonna leave the feet on while I paint them. That way I don't have to handle them too much and get paint all over myself. And once I finish doing that, all I have left to do is put the hardware on and put these in the bedroom. Yeah, that'll work. We're done with the dressers for now. I feel like there are a couple of things I might change. I don't know. I feel like they're kind of a little bit monolithic. So I might eventually change the color of the top, or I might change the color of the legs. I even thought about switching out the kind of rounded legs for the more square legs, because I feel like the square ones might look a little bit better, but I'm gonna live with it the way it is for now. But overall, I think these turned out super cute, and I think I'm ready to put them in the bedroom. All right, can you hop up? You wanna hop up? Let's go. I also picked up these little art prints from a garage sale this week, and I thought the pink in these buildings just picked up on the pink from the side tables. I might eventually put them somewhere else and put something bigger on these walls, or maybe do like a little small art here or something down lower, but for now I think that's nice just to have a little something on the walls. And then I also made these pillows over on my sewing channel earlier this week, so if you're interested in learning how to sew zippers and make some pillow covers, then check that out. I'll link it down below. So anyway, there are still a lot of things I want to do in this bedroom. I want to paint the walls a darker color. This room is actually kind of a dark room. It's on the north side of the house, and it's perfect for sleeping, but the light in here is pretty low. I kind of just want to lean into that and paint it a dark color. I think it'll really make the dressers pop, create a really nice moody vibe in here, and it'll be perfect for a bedroom. And now that I've got these little side tables in here, I feel like they work so much better than I expected them to, because when I first painted them, I was a little bit shocked by how bright the color was. But now that they're in here, I'm really happy with the color. I think it's gonna look really nice once I get the other finishing touches in here. I still need to put the closet doors on. They're down in our basement, and I just didn't want to fool with it yet. Those need to be cleaned. We took those out when we were first renovating the house, and I just haven't put them back in yet. So I need to put those in. Over here behind the camera, it's kind of a mess right now. There's another dresser here that I would like to paint also, kind of figuring out how I want to do that. So anyway, pretty happy with these. It's just nice to have some bedside tables with drawers too, because we were using these little TV trays and they would always get cluttered on the top and they just never looked nice and things would fall off of them. And you know, I have certain things that I keep next to the bed that I don't always want out on the table, like Tylenol, ibuprofen, earplugs, things like that. So over time, I will continue to work on this room, the same as all the spaces in this house. I think sometimes it is tempting to want to do it all at once and have this really beautiful finished product immediately and get some instant gratification, but you know, that's just not always how life goes. So I'm gonna keep doing little things to kind of spruce up this room and make it our little sleeping sanctuary. While I was doing this project, I realized this was actually the first furniture flip that I've ever done. And anyway, I would like to do more furniture flips like that. When we were renting before, I was always really hesitant to bring, you know, bigger projects into our space because I always knew we would eventually move. So now that we feel a little bit more settled, I think doing more projects like this are going to be more of a reality for me. And I can actually stop talking myself out of all the cool stuff I find at thrift stores, all the cool furniture, because previously I would just be like, wow, I don't really have a place for it. Now we do. Anyway, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.